to just make sure that kind of everybody understands that. We are happy to help. We're happy to help people write the waiver requests to ensure that they are completed or approved, I should say. Rick, for example, I'm just going to use your example since you do have one in. I don't want to submit it if we have questions, because if it takes 2 months to get a response and it's denied and we have to go back to the drawing board, we potentially wait and look at another 2 months. So we try and make sure that it is 100%. We know it's going to be approved before we send it off. And that way, if we have to wait 2 months, that's the end of it. And then we submit it on to purchasing.
Yeah. The only question I had on that waiver was, was it asked what the cost savings was. And I got the quote from Apple. So I just put a figure on there. I didn't know where I was supposed to get the cost savings from.
Usually the cost savings is more in terms of kind of what, and I hate to say it this way, but it's really, instead of buying a HP device that does this, or a PC that does the exact same things, why are you buying an Apple device? And in terms of Apple, and I'm not against Apple, I'm on a MacBook right now, but they really like their equipment. So it's usually, there is no cost savings, just speaking frankly. But it is a question we ask because it can bolster a claim or a waiver if there is any anticipated savings. All right. Well, so that's kind of all I've got in terms of presentation or discussion. I mean, obviously it wasn't a presentation by any means, but I'm happy if anybody has any questions or anything that I can support you with. Michelle, I see that Kylie has also reached out and he said that we'll look into that as well. So Michelle, and please feel free to unmute. You don't have to put everything in chat. But so that's actually one of the number one reasons that we get for purchasing desktops. However, Adobe Creative Cloud actually does not require any more data, RAM, anything else that would need to be on a desktop rather than a Windows or a laptop. Like I said, it is a cloud-based system. Everybody in IT, we have Adobe Creative Cloud. We use the exact same product that your all students would be using and are doing a lot of the exact same things. So there's not really a need for that. And to your point there, in some cases, Adobe Creative Cloud can also work on Chromebooks. We have schools that are using Creative Cloud with Chromebooks. It's not as robust, admittedly, but it does allow them access and things like that. So if there is a way in which those specific programs, maybe not your highest level programs, but introductory or whatever, could be at that Chromebook level, then you guarantee the student 24/7 access as they take the device home and stuff like that. And they don't kind of run into those hurdles that might traditionally be seen.
I guess my thing, William, was just how do I direct my teachers in terms of ordering the laptops moving forward, numbers, because normally we're getting a classroom set of something. Mm-hmm. But if we're talking mobility for what we need, then I don't know how to think that through and communicate with them about it.
Right. So, I mean, and that's a good point. And that's why I say, like, if we can present it, if it can work on a Chromebook, that's always going to be ideal because that's what the district is giving them. It's free to the school, 100%. The only thing they're buying is that license. You can certainly still use a, classroom set and set up the class. I mean, traditional computer labs, just speaking very frankly, is an antiquated system. Most school districts and innovative areas are moving away from that. So that's also where we need to make sure that we have our own flexibility built in internally. You can still buy 30 laptops at a time. And to your point, there might be some notions of increased expense, just speaking frankly. But again, schools have more money than they've ever had before. So there's not really that justification of, well, we can't do it. Well, you were doing it before when you were buying laptops and everything else because schools were. Now we're giving them 200, 300, 400 Chromebooks at a time, whereas, you kind of have to see how can those be melded and meshed together.
Yeah, our students just, from the teacher's perspective, they had struggles with their students on Chromebooks when we were in NTI. I mean, I pray we never do that again and have to go through something like that again. I just want to make sure that my message to them helps them understand that, because I use a laptop PC and use Adobe fine and can do everything fine. So it's not that at all. It's about, if we're talking mobility, are we saying my 150 students in my cinematography video production class will now have access one-on-one to the type of PC, the type of laptop that will help them if we ever have to send them home? And that's, I guess that's what I'm just struggling a little bit with.
If a school chose to, hey, you're in, cinematography, we're going to buy you a laptop. Sure, they can. I mean, if they have the money for that, and whatever else. I mean, there is some redundancy there, and that was kind of part of our conversation of last week. In that, we also need to understand where we are in terms of what devices our students have and the perspectives that we have, and making sure that our instruction aligns to it. We can use Chromebooks, and is the struggle, and we're not going to solve this at this point, but is the struggle with using Adobe, for example, on a Chromebook, is that because the teacher doesn't understand it or because the students don't? If it's because of the teacher, we need to revisit that. If it's truly a student hurdle, that's something where we can look into. But as I said earlier, our focus is now with the students.
Absolutely.
Speaking frankly, I don't care if a teacher struggles. We can support them. We have to do what's best for the students in the end. So
yeah, no, that wasn't it. It was just Chrome or Adobe didn't have products that you could use on Chrome that you could edit with or use graphic design. So I don't want to take up any more time if anybody else has questions.
Okay, I'll be happy to schedule another meeting, Nichelle, and you and I can dive a little deeper into that, because I do think that we're getting, just speaking frankly, a little conflicting information. Like I said, we've heard from schools that are using Adobe Creative Cloud only on Chromebooks, and we haven't heard the concerns. And then we've heard it from CTE that, not you guys, but some of our schools that, we have to have a desktop because of this. So it's two vastly different perspectives with the same product.
Yeah.
Any other questions, concerns, anything else?